Hi everyone, this is Cheryl and welcome to my sewing room. I'm going to demonstrate how to make this really fast and easy pot holder. You can make it very plain, you can make it with or without the loop, and you can even add these little triangle shapes in the corner. Don't be intimidated by them. I have a really easy process on how to put them on. You can make them all different colors or the same color. This is also a great scrap buster project. Getting rid of all those scraps is really hard for all of us. Okay, let's get started. You will need the following supplies. 4 squares that are 4.5 inches. They can be all the same color or all a different color. 1 strip of fabric that is 2 inches wide by 5 inches long. 2 squares that are 8.5 inches squared. They can be the same color or different colors on both the front and back. Then you'll need 2 squares that are 8.5 inches of cotton batting, or you can use just 1 cotton batting and 1 Insulbrite piece that is 8.5 inches square. Insulbrite, I know that Joann Fabrics and Crafts carry it, and also you can get it on Amazon.com. On the back side of your 4.5 inch squares, draw a line going from corner to corner. So just place a ruler up there, lining those corners up, and draw a line. Again, make sure you do it on all of your 4.5 inch squares on the back side. Take 2 of your 4.5 inch squares and place them on opposite corners on one of the 8.5 inch squares. Line them up on the edges here. Stitch close to the line. Don't stitch on top of it, but stitch very close to the line right along here. So on this square, you're going to stitch on this side of the line, and on this square, you're going to stitch on this side of the line. Again, do not stitch on top of the line, but very close to it. After stitching, take your ruler, place the 1/4 inch line right on your stitch line, and trim this fabric off. Turn your block and do the same thing on this side. Put your 1/4 inch line on the stitch line and cut. Then go to your ironing board and press the seam, then unfold and press the seam on top. Take your last 2 squares and place them up in the opposite corners like this. Again, line them up on the edges here. Repeat the same steps as you did. Stitch close to the line on this side and stitch close to the line on this side. After stitching, place your 1/4 inch line on your ruler on top of your stitch line and trim this corner off. Turn your block and repeat. Place the 1/4 inch line on your stitch line and cut. Then at your ironing board, press your edges on the back side here, then unfold and press on top. When done, it should look like this. To make the loop, take your 2 inch by 5 inch piece of fabric, fold it in half, and then with your iron, press it, then unfold it, bring the 2 sides into the center where the fold line is, and then press. Take the other side and bring it in and press. Bring both sides in and fold it in half and press. Then when you're done with your pressing, then stitch right along this edge to close it up. Place your 2 layers of cotton batting or your 1 layer of Insulbrite with the cotton batting. Then take your piece for the front, lay it on top, and try to line up your edges as best as possible. Place your loop up here like this and pin the edges down here. Take your square for the back, bring it front side down. So make sure this one's front side up. Line up your edges. Then place pins around your edges. Leave an opening down here, about 3 inches wide. Begin stitching here on one side of the opening and always back stitch at your opening and then stitch down to the corner. When you get 1/4 inch away from this edge, stop, leave your needle down through the fabric, lift up your presser foot, turn your pot holder, and begin stitching on the other edge. Do that all the way around and make sure you do that on all 4 corners, leaving that needle down. That way you don't lose your place. When you come back here, then you back stitch right in here. On all 4 corners, you want to trim some of this fabric off right there at the corner, because if you don't do this, your corners are going to wind up being really bulky. So we're going to relieve some of that bulk by trimming some of this fabric off. And when I have this much cotton batting, I not only like to just cut across this way, but a little bit off on the side. So make sure you're not cutting into your stitch line. And if you're using a rotary cutter like I am, try to keep those fingers out of the way, because as you know, these rotary cutters are really sharp. So do this at all 4 corners. Now open the opening and you're going to reach in between your 2 fabrics that are for the outside of the pot holder and go in and start turning it front side out. So just start pushing, pulling some of those corners out a little at a time. Now make sure you don't rip your stitches there at the opening. So take your time pulling this front side out. If you're having problems getting your corners to come out, you can either use a chopstick and reach inside and poke at the corners. If they're still being stubborn, just take a straight pin and just gently pull on that fabric, trying to get it to come out just a little bit. At the opening, turn your edges inside and pin it closed. And then after you've finished pinning, you want to stitch close to the edge here to close up that opening. Place pins around this square in the center. Then do stitch in the ditch, and that is a term used in the sewing world where you stitch right there where 2 pieces of fabric come together. So you're stitching right down there in that seam, that ditch. So stitch all the way around. And the reason for doing that is to kind of hold all of the cotton batting together. For those of you maybe have more experience in doing quilting stitches, you can even do a fancy quilt stitch pattern on this. Here it is on the front, and then this is the back. For more pot holder projects, play this video until a green screen appears and then click on the links. If you like this video, click on thumbs up and then click on share to share this video with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click on that red button down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Click on the little bell and enter your email address so you receive emails about my latest video. If you're not receiving those email notifications, go to your cell phone or iPad, click on Settings and turn notifications in the on position. This is Paul, this is Manny, this is Jamie. So glad you came to my sewing room. See you next time, and happy sewing!